In 2013, HTC gave us the HTC One. Big display, bigger sound, and an all-new ultra-pixel camera that worked to varying degrees of success. Well, it's a brand new year and we have a brand new phone. This is the all-new HTC One. Even more metal, a brushed finish. It's beautiful. The curves on this thing, you have to feel it to believe it. 5-inch display. Boom sound is even boomier. It's even louder. And yes, the ultra pixel camera is back. Plus, we've got a wealth of new software features. So come on, let's go take a look at the all-new HTC One. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I present to you the brand new HTC One. This is the 2014 edition, the M8, and this picture right here, I just think kind of sums it up, right? Metal, curves. This is a futuristic phone. It looks and feels as good as you can imagine right here. This is the gunmetal gray edition. It's kind of a brushed finish. You will have two other options. There's a silver one and kind of a champagne gold that have the same finish as last year's HTC One. Boom sound is back. These big speakers are bigger and boomier than ever. HTC says you get about 25% louder volume, and you can certainly hear it as you're listening to music, right? Very, very nice sound coming out of boom sound now. Power button up on top. You've got some other ports tucked away in that big black band as well. Very stylish. It looks really nice on top of this phone here. Here's the bottom of the phone, and you see micro USB down on the bottom, and the 3.5mm headphone jack has moved down here as well. There's the SIM tray. It looks a little odd because that's actually the same tray they'll use in the dual SIM version. It is nano SIM now, so you might need to cut yours down. And yes, there is a micro SD card. Very cool. Buttons. So we now have on-screen buttons in this big black HTC band. Don't worry about that. The on-screen buttons are nice. And actually, you don't end up reaching down any farther than you would on the M7. Now, here they are side by side. M8 on the left, M7 on the right. And you really do kind of see the evolution of this phone, right? Born out of the M7, but an entirely new device, much, much sexier. Here is the top of the M7 and the M8. Again, the M8, 2014, just what a difference it's made. Here are the cameras all lined up nice and pretty. Two cameras, by the way, on the back. It's a 4-megapixel resolution still, ultra pixel, but it's got that secondary lens for focus information, for depth information. Take a look at the bottoms of the two phones. And again, just the curves make all the difference on the new HTC One. Can't stress that enough, especially as you crawl up the back, you can see it. It's subtle, but it feels so much better. Dual flashes now, by the way, if you hadn't noticed that. Side by side, you can see the difference in screen sizes. We're up to 5 full inches now. Thickness, just about the same, though the curve on the back makes it feel a lot better in the hand, I think. Just less angular. It is a little taller, and that takes a little getting used to, but it's not the end of the world. Still have a single bar volume rocker on the side, and that's nice. I like that. Again, comparison of the bottom here. Micro USB, 3.5mm headphone jack on the new one. So let's take a look at some of the software itself. Now, you can now double tap to turn on. No, HTC is not the first company to do that, but we also have these little gestures that we can do, right? You can open up straight into Blink Feed if you want, or turn it off again, and you can open up directly to the home screen just by swiping, right? Or more. Pull down, and you get voice dialing right there on the lock screen. That's nice. Or there's one more. Swipe up, and it should take you to your recent app. I didn't have anything open there, but that's what it will do. It'll take you back into whatever you were working on. So very nice addition from HTC there. Now the lock screen itself has a little more functionality as well. You can pull down and then go either left, right, opens you back up into Blink Feed. We'll do it again and go to the left. Left pulls you into your home screens, and straight up will just unlock the device. So another cool little lock screen feature there from HTC in Sense 6. You do have your icon shortcuts again, so you can open up directly into the camera or the browser or whatever you want as well. Home screens in Sense 6 are very simple again. So Blink Feed, one main home screen, and a blank one to do whatever you want with. And that's it, right? Very simple, nothing we haven't seen before. This is the UK version. It's got a big folder of Google apps there. And that's it. So US versions will be a little different, of course. Here are the apps that are in here by default. Dev version will probably look pretty much like this too. You saw Fitbit. Everything I've installed ends up underneath in this custom view. And I kind of like that, right? You can change it if you want. You can do custom, alphabetical, or most recent. But I kind of like how it's just put everything I have down below. You can rearrange the apps if you want. And this is how you make folders in the app drawer. You can dump one on top of another and make a folder if you wish. And that's kind of a cool feature to have in an app drawer. I like that. You can also hide and unhide apps. You can change the grid size. You can go to a 3x4 if you want. I like the 4x5 though, so we're going to switch that back. Let's take a look at the notification pull down now. This is actually straight out of Google, right? Except for the timestamp, the fonts are all the same. HTC didn't get to touch that. Quick settings, pretty much like we've come to know and love in Sense 6. You see the color there. We can change that in a minute. I'll show you. Brightness, settings, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, airplane mode, power saver, auto rotate, mobile data, sound profiles. So you can change from vibrate to normal to silent to vibrate to normal to silent if you want. Do not disturb. I love having this out front and center now. I use this all the time for when I'm sleeping and on trips and stuff. And HTC Mini Plus, which is their little mini Bluetooth phone that we don't actually have in the States. So theming, this is cool. This is in the personalized section. You see all these little icons up at the top there, the colors. You can change how some of the Chrome looks in apps, in some of HTC's apps. And you see there in the quick settings, in the settings menu itself, everything has gone from green to orange, which is kind of cool. So you've got different theming options, and this one changes it to purple if you like purple. It'll be interesting to see if HTC adds any more themes at some point. But yeah, everything is purple, so pretty neat. That's not the only way you can personalize your home screens, of course. This old standby of pinching to get sort of the zoomed out view of your home screens, and also into the widget drawer. So that's where you get all your widgets. If you want to add or remove home screens or change the positions, you can't change blink feed, of course, but you can change all the others or change which one is home or remove them. This is where you do it. So that's kind of an old standby from HTC, and that hasn't changed. That's how you remove blink feed now, by the way. You just drag it over to remove, and it's gone. Now, we've talked a lot about boom sound, the speakers. Now let's talk about boom sound, the settings. So you'll see this actually sitting there in the settings, but grayed out by default. When you plug in headphones or a speaker, you now have software options for boom sound. You can turn it on and off at will. It compresses the sound a little bit, I think, but also raises the highs and makes things a little crisper. HTC TV is back. There is an infrared remote in the phone still, and after a little bit of setup, you will be able to browse and then control your TV. What's really neat now is you get sports scores right in there alongside all your other listings, and then it will change directly to it. And again, you have to set up the remote to get it to work. But a really nice feature, and frankly one that has more functionality than what my cable company gave me, so go figure. All right, here are the cameras on the back. Ultra pixel, right? More light hitting the lens, more light hitting the sensor. That top lens there is for depth information. For the most part, taking pictures is pretty much the same, right? It's a basic camera app, although it's been redesigned, very nicely redesigned. You've got video, Zoe camera is separate, Pan 360, that's Photosphere, love seeing it. Dual capture, so you can show your smiling face just like that while you're taking a picture of something in front of you. Selfie is, well, selfies. Kind of needs no explanation, huh? Eat your heart out, Ellen. You can also still switch over to it just by dragging down from either edge of the display, which I tend to do accidentally more than I'd like. Now, we do have some secondary modes and options here. You see with the little 3-button menu down there. So auto, you have night mode, you have HDR, you have filters, you have white balance. There's all sorts of stuff going on this camera app, but really nicely redesigned. You also have a settings menu with even more things to use. I like using the grid, so we'll turn that on. You can choose whether you want to store photos on the SD card or the internal storage, so be sure to check that out. You will get a prompt when you put the SD card in for the very first time. And you can save your camera settings. So this is really neat. So as you tweak things, you can change white balance and exposure and all that stuff. You can save your own custom camera. So that's pretty important. We'll just show you a few sample pictures here because we can do it. The bottom line for the new HTC One camera, I think, is it's not the best all-around camera, but it does some things really well. I think you're still going to see a lot of really good pictures out of it. You're not going to be able to blow up images quite as much as you might for some other phones because it's still only 4 megapixels, right? There's also a dedicated Zoe app now that's going to let you collaborate with your friends, or your enemies, I suppose, and share your Zoes and create these sort of combined highlight videos. It's not ready at launch, so we will bring you more on this later. And you'll get to see what your friends are sharing and what other people are sharing. So it's going to be really cool once it's available. Just not yet. Soon, promise. So to recap, 5-inch display, 4 megapixel ultra pixel camera on the back, 5 megapixel camera out front, a very, very nicely designed phone. So that's it. That's the all-new HTC One. One hell of a phone. HTC's done a really nice job with it. I can't wait to hear what all you guys have to say about it. We've got plenty more HTC One coverage coming up here at AndroidCentral.com. See ya.